TechFest Java. In this video, we are going to discuss about strategy design pattern, and this is also a very important design pattern. It is basically one of the behavioral type of design pattern, and we will discuss about this. So, what is strategy design pattern? Strategy design pattern is basically used when we have multiple algorithms for a specific task and client decides the actual implementation to be used at runtime. So whenever we have multiple algorithm for a specific task and the client basically need to decide what would be the actual implementation need to be required to perform the operation at runtime. At that time, we are basically using a strategy design pattern. There we are basically creating a strategy context class, and that strategy context class basically perform the operation. Strategy pattern is basically also known as called as a policy pattern. Why policy pattern? It is basically providing a policy on the basis of that a specific task need to perform, and it is one of the behavioral type of design pattern. In Java, basically when we talk about collections.sort, internally it is using a strategy pattern and taking a comparator object as a parameter. So internally for doing the sorting thing, it is taking a comparator parameter, and that comparator is basically nothing else but it providing one kind of a strategy which is being applied on an object which is going to be sort in collections.sort. So that is one of the example from JDK. And whenever we talk about a strategy pattern, basically we are creating an object which basically represent the various strategies and a context object whose behavior varies as per strategy object. So simply we can say that there is an operation called add, subtract, multiply or division, and these are basically called as strategy, and the context which we are basically providing is simply we can say that the parameter object. We are passing two parameters, and if we are passing context object, that way the behavior should happen. So if you are passing addition context, then the two number being added. If we are passing subtraction context, the two number being subtracted. So that way we can design the strategy design pattern, and it is very important design pattern in behavioral pattern. For the implementation part, we can take an simple same example as doing the operation of addition, subtraction, multiplication and division. So let's just jump for the implementation part of strategy pattern. The implementation of strategy design pattern, I have taken an example of simple Java project. I have created one simple Java project and created one main class. Okay, so for taking an example of strategy design pattern, firstly I'm going to create one interface named as strategy operation, and in this interface I'll create one method called public int perform operation, and in this method basically passing two integer numbers num1, num2. Okay, so then after creating the implementing class. So for this strategy operation, first operation I would be creating as addition strategy operation, and implementing the class as with that interface. And here simply returning the value of num1 plus num2. In a similar way, creating one more implementing class that is basically for subtraction strategy operation, and in this class also implementing same interface strategy operation and overriding a method of perform operation, and taking as num1 minus num2. And similarly I'm creating one more class, and then after so getting a multiply strategy operation, and this class also implements the same interface strategy operation. And here simply returning a num1 asterisk num2. Okay, now what we have to do, we have to create one context class strategy context. In this class basically what we will do, we will define the reference of strategy operation. So creating one strategy operation stance variable, and then creating a public constructor of this strategy context, and in this constructor basically we are doing the initialization of this. And here creating one method called perform strategy of and in this office basically what we will do, we will using this dot strategy operation dot perform operation, here we are passing that same number int num1 comma int num2, and we are returning this. That's it. This is our strategy context, and we have created this one interface, that is strategy operations, and there are three implementing class. One is for addition strategy, one is for subtraction strategy, and another is for multiplication strategy. Now what we will have to do, we will create this strategy operation context. Say new, and in this, basically what we have to do, we have to define the strategy operation, which strategy operation we want to use. Suppose that if we are going to pass one strategy operation, that is enter, and then after on this we can perform the strategy and passing a number like 10 and 20. Save that number, enter sum, and then print out that number. So addition strategy, printing this one. Similarly, we can define a strategy for subtraction and multiplication also. So what we have to do, we have to pass subtraction strategy over here, creating as one. Here we will can define as diff and passing as 50, 20, and diff. Similarly for multiplication strategy. Multiply, here we can define a variable as 2, and here we have subtract strategy, here we have multiply strategy, and we can print this multiply. Here I'm passing just 10 and 20. Okay. Now if we can run this program, on this number, basically it is should provide a result as 30. This is the difference, so should provide a result as 30 because 50 minus 20 is 30, and here it will should provide a result as 200 because 20 into 10, that is 200. So we can just run this program. Yeah, as you can see that we have passed 10 and 20 and perform addition strategy operation. So it will add these two numbers as 30, and here we are passing 50 and 20 and performing a subtraction strategy, and so it will give a 30, and here we are passing 10 and 20 and performing a multiply strategy. So and this will give a result 200. So that way we can implement the strategy design pattern. It is also a very important design pattern, and many places it is being used. So that's it for this video. If you like this video, please comment out and subscribe my channel. Thank you.